So we all know that Christmas is a time to truly enjoy gaming. But what were people enjoying in the run up to Christmas 1997? Find out right now. Welcome to the last Retro Gaming Chart Show of 2016, and we have a doozy of a chart this month. This time around we're going to be looking at issue 9 of N64 magazine, the UK based successor to Super Play. It's December 1997 and the N64 is celebrating its first Christmas here in the UK. However, over in North America they're celebrating the second Christmas of the system, and it's at this point that some of the console's best games start to arrive. So how does this affect the top 5 N64 charts in the land of the free? It's time to find out. At number 5 is the 64-bit continuation of Fox McCloud's adventures in Star Fox 64. Arguably the very best game of the series, it was this release that refined the mechanics of the SNES predecessor, resulting in a highly playable arcade shooter. With the brand new all-range mode for free movement in certain levels, several new vehicles to pilot and an engaging medal mode to encourage multiple replays, it is certainly the peak of the series and one of the N64's very best games. Plus, it was the first game to feature the Rumble Pack, one of the first official force feedback devices for any console, introducing a feature that would become a standard of the feature set we take for granted today. The 32 and 64-bit generation was a haven for brilliant arcade racers like the Saturn's Sega Rally and PlayStation's Ridge Racer. Sadly, the Nintendo 64 wasn't really known for races other than Mario Kart 64, but there were plenty of developers who tried, like Genki, who came up with Multi-Racing Championship. It's a decidedly average racer that controls well but doesn't quite have the track design or presentation of other popular arcade racers. Still, with the N64 owners hungry for a proper racer, it makes this chart an acceptable number 4. At number 3 is another rally-based racer, Top Gear Rally. Probably one of the better racers for the Nintendo 64. I had this game and personally I loved it, thanks to its decent track design, plenty of unlockable vehicles and the ability to create your own paint job for your vehicle. The cars handle well with a good sense of speed once you unlock the faster cars, and overall it's quite an underrated arcade racer. And number 2 is a game that needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever, GoldenEye 007. One of the first console FPSs to prove that the genre could do well away from the PC, Rare's approach to stealth and mission-based gameplay was just incredible. Of course, multiplayer was the real draw here, with up to 4 players being able to hunt each other down in various modes, from standard deathmatches to more tense modes such as You Only Live Twice, where players only have 2 lives. Its spiritual successor, Perfect Dark, may be the better game overall, but we all have a fondness for GoldenEye 007 and its excellent use of the license. But what you'll never guess is what game outsold it this month. This is the highest selling game of December 1997, and you probably don't know or can't remember what it is. Mace: The Dark Age is one of a string of midway arcade fighters that found their way onto the Nintendo 64, joining Biofreaks and War Gods in the history books under mediocre fighters that no one talks about or knows about anymore. Mace is hopelessly generic, but N64 owners were so starved of fighters at this point that we just settled for any old rubbish, and so it came to be that Mace briefly outsold GoldenEye 007 in America. So that was a very interesting chart, I am sure you will agree. Now, time and history have certainly been kinder to GoldenEye 007 than it has for Mace: The Dark Age, and this chart does highlight the software drought experienced by the N64 throughout its life. Now this, as I said earlier, is the last Retro Gaming Chart Show of 2016, but this show will of course be back in 2017 with a brand new chart straight from gaming history. But until then, I hope you stick around and check out all of my other videos until then. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back next week or even next year with another slice of gaming fun. Happy New Year!